All right, David McKinney here from StandThemUp.org in the room with Rich Cantolina, a veteran of 15 fights, 9 wins, 6 losses, fighting at Pinnacle Fighting Championships #5 on November 27th, and what I expect to be the first title fight of the night at 145 pounds, taking on Ethan Goss. I know. First of all, Rich, let's just talk. How's training going for this fight? Leading up, I know you were originally supposed to be in a welterweight tournament or featherweight tournament semifinal. Now you're in a title fight. Just talk a little bit about leading up to the fight.
I prepare no matter what, the same going into every fight. If I fight my fight, I feel like there's no one in the featherweight competition right now that can compete with me. So it doesn't really matter who my opponent is. Everyone faces bumps in the road, but I feel like I prepared so hard for this fight that I could have backed out too whenever they changed my opponent from Noel to Goss. But Goss is a very game opponent, and he's going to bring the fight. And I'm prepared for anybody they throw in front of me right now.
Right, and let's just talk a little about Ethan Goss. I know, obviously, you took on one of your teammates in his last fight in Pittsburgh. Obviously, he fought over the weekend over in Eastern PA. But did you learn anything? I know, obviously, he had a win over Julian Ramos at Pinnacle Fighting Championships #4 back in August. Did you learn anything from that fight? Have you talked to Julian? I know Julian trains at Fight Club Pittsburgh with you. What's your game plan going into the fight?
It definitely helps to have somebody on your team that has fought your upcoming opponent. They know their every move. They know their game. I've watched Goss's fight. Obviously there's a lot of tape on everybody out there. I've watched his fights. He's a tough opponent. I think we're going to have a great stand-up battle. He looks like he likes to stand and bang like me too. But he just finished his guy with a guillotine choke out east. So his ground game is just as good. So, it's going to be a fight, and I know his game, and I'm prepared for that. And he's a southpaw, so that throws a little wrench in the game. But I'm prepared for anything that comes at me, and Julian's definitely going to help me prepare for this battle.
And let's just talk a little bit about training at a gym like Fight Club Pittsburgh. First off, how long have you been training here, and what it's like training with so many killers on a day in and day out basis?
It's definitely a shark tank here. I always say fear the 45ers because there's just so much talent here at 145 pounds and the light weights, and everybody here is talented. I came from a gym where I was the big fish in a little pond. I didn't feel like I was being pushed, so I had to make the switch to a place where I became a little fish in a big pond, and this isn't a pond. In my mind, it's a shark tank, and I get better every day here. And when I first started, it was tough to even survive. There was days I thought about just going back to the old gym, but it's only made me better, and I've improved strides because I've been here.
Right, and obviously, being such a tall guy at 145, I know you're over 6 feet tall. How does that play into your game plan, and how do you use that to your advantage in fights?
I definitely like to keep my distance, not to throw my game plan out there. I'm prepared wherever a fight goes, but it's great to be 6'1" because the majority of the guys I fight are short, stocky, and I can keep my distance with my jab out there. It's funny. Everyone always comes at me about how I'm over 6 foot and 145 pounds and how I make that weight, but to me, I was at 135 before this, so I've always been tall and skinny, so I plan on staying here for a while. Right,
that's what I was going to ask you. I know the last fight I actually saw, I remember you being at 135 pounds, so maybe you can actually eat a little bit more going into some of these fights.
Yeah, I hit that grown man stage, and I put on a little more weight, so not much more muscle. I'm not the most muscular person, but just bumped up to 145, and I think this is my home now. So.
Right, and last but not least, just talk a little about what fans can expect on November 27th, and maybe just a little bit of a preview for the fight.
I think the fans are going to love my fight. I try to become fight of the night every time I'm out there. I try to put a show on for the fans. We are in the sports entertainment business, and these people do pay to come see us. I prepare. I work my butt off in this gym every day, and I'm ready to go out there and give the fans exactly what they want. And I hope when they leave that place, they say, what fight did you like the most? And I want to be the person that they like the most. I want them to be like, wow. Even win or lose, I want everyone to fear me in 145 pounds, and that's my goal.
All right, man, that was Rich Cantolina fighting for the featherweight title, the first ever featherweight title for Pinnacle Fighting Championships, November 27th in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. Thanks, Rick.
I just want to say a couple of thank yous to my sponsors, Thick as Thieves Fight Company, BMAC Trucking, Chippewa Chiropractic Clinic, and recently the fighting world lost one of its best talents in Garrett Sickness Sahin. November 27th, I know he's going to be in my corner flying there with me. Me and Garrett were becoming very close friends, and it truly is a tragedy what happened to the kid. So this one's going to be in memory of Garrett Sahin.